Three, two, one. Can you hear me now? Is the wind noise okay? I'm using the cell phone. It's, what is it? Tuesday, 5 November. I'm back at Oroville Dam. I've been on the road the last 24 hours up studying the Campfire and the Campfire aftermath. I've got a lot of data to share with you, a lot of video stuff to share with you regarding the rebuilding of Paradise, Magalia, and Concow and the areas affected by the Campfire. Back here at Oroville, the darn parking lot to the Spillway is closed off today, Tuesday, so I can't get over there to show you down the Spillway chute until Friday. Friday and over the weekend, they allow folks to drive down this road, but right now today they're working on the dang parking lot all the way down the other end, so I can't get in there to show you right down the chute of the Spillway. I looked at it from the dam boulevard down here, and the Spillway looks great. Looks like they've added some street lights to it, similar to these street lights right over here. Looks like they got street lights going all the way down the Spillway now, and the terracing, I don't know if you can see down here, the terracing of the project is coming along great. We're looking down here at the face of the dam this time. Look at that, no green spot. It's the dead of summer out here. Everything's dead. Just like in springtime, everything's green. And that's the size and the shape of the face of the Oroville Dam, and it is huge. Are they LED type lights? I'm not sure. Oh yeah, here's some more of them right here, right along the dam, all brand new. They probably are energy efficient lights. As we discussed yesterday, the water level here at Oroville is down about 100 feet. But since I can't get over there to talk about the Spillway more today, I want to talk to you about what all I learned on this fascinating trip over to Paradise, and to visit with Miles O'Brien, former CNN correspondent Miles O'Brien, and his producer Will Tubman. By the way, Will Tubman and his crew are big Blanco Lirio fans. Big shout out to Will Tubman and the crew at Miles O'Brien Productions for staying tuned to the Blanco Lirio channel. I got a chance to hang out with Miles most of the evening there, and we had dinner together, and he gave me a lot of really interesting inside information about the state of reporting on science and technology in our country today. I would say it's virtually at a crisis. Miles O'Brien is a Peabody and Emmy award-winning journalist for science and technology. He was the head of the science, what do you call it, division or branch or arm of CNN for 17 years. Around 2008, CNN, according to Miles, just closed down the whole science and technology beat at CNN. And of course, we've seen the network news, or the cable news and network news, all just go ahead and divide up amongst political lines, and that's what we get for reporting these days. Science and technology reporting is virtually non-existent among the networks and the cable news networks. Miles was out of work for 4 days and got picked up by PBS, Public Broadcast System, and he's still doing broadcasts for Nova. He's producing the whole program himself with a tiny cast of maybe a half a dozen folks or less. So I misspoke all the time. The other day I misspoke about the rice fields down here. It's the rice straw that they burn, not the rice hulls or the rice. And they need the water to decompose the rice now. But the other thing I really misspoke about is the program that we watched last night. The program that we watched last night was the Nova program developed by Miles O'Brien, Inside the Megafire. On a previous update, I said something about Frontline. That's a completely different program, and you're right, your comments were right on about that Frontline program. It's rubbish. The Frontline program, according to the folks that we spoke with, including the Cal Fire folks back here at the Campfire, the folks from Frontline came in, I think it was some folks from the BBC, came in very confrontationally and wanted to immediately take sides and play the blame game as soon as they came in to start getting information on the Campfire. So that's not the program I'm talking about. It's inside the Megafire with Nova. And the neat thing is, I think that Will and his crew are fans of this program. They saw some of my aerial footage over the Campfire, and they reached out to me and got a hold of me and got some further clarification on how things started there. And when you watch the program inside the Megafire, Miles took a measured approach and looked at all the nuances that are involved with the devastation up in Paradise. It's not just a climate change problem. It's so much more than that. So many more man-made issues at stake there. And Miles did a great job of producing that in his program. So I learned a lot hanging out with him. You know, Miles also was slated to be the first journalist to go into space on the space shuttle. He was, wow, the super chats kicking in. Thank you, sir. He was good. So NASA approved Miles O'Brien to ride on the space shuttle, be the first journalist in space. He's the aviation guy, was at CNN until they shut down the whole science and technology division. But NASA required him to get involved with the whole entire 2-year training program so he could be a part of the crew. Well, then the Challenger disaster happened. That was the space shuttle that failed on the re-entry over at Texas when the EPA-approved foam fell off of the re-entry vehicle and left a hole and burned a hole in the wing, and the aircraft disintegrated on re-entry. So Miles never did get to go into space on that. But that's the kind of talent that they've shut down at CNN, effective back in 2008. And so I want to encourage Miles and some of his staff. Miles, why don't you get online? If you can't beat him, join him. I think you could have an outstanding YouTube channel if you followed it or if you kept up with it regularly. We need more science and technology accurate reporting, just the fact style reporting. You just can't find it today anymore, and there's such a huge market for it. I can't do it all myself. Those guys are real journalists. They're chasing the story all over the country. They flew in last night from Boston. They were up at 4 a.m. to run down to San Francisco and do a story on vaping. And I don't want to run around the country and chase all those kind of stories all the time. I'm more interested in stories that impact my life right here in Northern California, and they have much wider consequences. So fascinating evening with those guys, and then a real gut-wrenching day out at the Campfire. I hooked up with an old childhood friend of mine, Gary. I'll just leave it at that. And we got on the motorcycles and just toured all over the town and got a lot of good information. Folks mostly are willing to talk about the disaster. Still a lot of folks on edge about the whole thing as they're coming up on the 1-year anniversary. But all in all, got a whole bunch of great information and video to share with you. I got to go home and put it all together. So look forward to that. Oh, this fish. You guys were asking about the fish. I was just down at the hatchery. I wish I could add some of this to these live feeds. The fish are still running through the fish hatchery here at Feather River. The ladies, I found the fish counter. She was on her calculator counting them up. 22,099 Chinook, salmon for the whole year have come back through the fish hatchery. Right now it's the end of the Chinook salmon run. That's the king salmon, in other words. They're just finishing up their run. 22,000 fish so far have returned. That's about average, maybe a little bit above average for the fish. The windows are in view there. You can look right through the glass at the fish and watch them jump up the ladders. It's pretty exciting. And as you know, on these giant projects, when you build a dam and you put a fish hatchery up and you start feeding that system, it's less than 1% return rate on the number of fish that you spawn and send down the river. About 1%, a little bit less, make it back, make it all the way back. But there's a lot of natural spawning going on down here in the river, and there's work continues to be done to improve those spawning grounds. I believe once Oroville gets their new FERC license, they'll be doing even a lot more work on those spawning grounds. Of course, this dam complex cannot be relicensed until this spillway project is completely finished. Completely finished. The spillway and emergency spillway are done and fully operational right now, but there's still a lot of work with terracing here, ancillary infrastructure, the roads and that sort of thing. They're spending millions of dollars fixing up the roads, which got hammered out here during the emergency. So once that's all complete, they can reapply for their FERC license and get it. That licensing is also tied up in politics as well, as everything is so divided right now. So we'll have to stay posted and see how that goes. Here's some skaters right now enjoying the pedestrian view down the dam. It's about a mile across this dam all the way over to the spillway downstream. So I'll come back either Friday or Saturday of this weekend. We'll get back over the dam and look down the spillway, a view we haven't seen since we were on the property when they were rebuilding the spillway. And give you a good, interesting view of that activity. So thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for your support, especially on Patreon. As you know, that helps even out the vagaries of YouTube and their demonetization program as we talk about these natural disasters and man-made disasters. That content frequently gets demonetized. So thank you so much for your support. We need more of you young, smart folks out here reporting on science and technology. There's a huge demand for it. Just the facts, ma'am. See you here.